Welcome to Friday, the 4th day of February, 2022. This Day Weather Podcast brought to you by Chugwater Chili, the gourmet spice of Western life. Try out their Chugwater Chili Red Pepper Jelly. With that big certain game coming up next Sunday, you're going to want to have all your snacks, your big pot of chili ready to go. Go to chugwaterchili.com and use Chugwater Don for 20% off. Well, the Arctic air is going to be retreating, and that means windy conditions. Rule of thumb in the interior west and the western high plains, when one air mass is replaced by another, the change in temperature results in a change in air pressure, and that causes the wind to move around. And then you move that wind around through the mountain gaps and the canyons and the areas between the mountain ranges. You're going to get the wind to pick up. So the wind is going to pick up a bit today and into the weekend. It won't be anything crazy, but it'll be a nuisance, something to be ready for. We have Alberta Clipper coming Saturday night. That's going to bring not a lot, but a little bit of weather to some of you. We have another little clipper coming in Tuesday night and Wednesday. But for the next 5 to 7 days, folks, there's really not a lot going on in the western United States. We're still expecting a weather pattern change. However, next weekend and thereafterwards, as we get into next weekend, the week or two after that, the pattern will get more stormy again. So we're kind of in a little bit of a break, but that break will eventually come to an end. These were the temperatures as of 5 a.m. this morning. These are temperatures. Reported temperatures, look at these 20s down along the Gulf Coast. Corpus Christi at one time this morning had a temperature of 27 with a wind chill of minus 13. And those temperatures are quite amazing getting deep into the south. Now, you want to know what the wind chill was at 5 a.m. this morning? Those were the wind chills deep in the heart of Texas earlier today. So that's where the Arctic air has been sent to, the southeast and south central areas of the United States. Look at this impressive snow cover area. This is the most recent snow cover update. You see how far south the snow cover has gotten here over the last couple of days. And if you look globally, you can see a pretty impressive axis like this going across some pretty low latitude areas. And as you get into this time of year, the deeper part of winter, you would expect that. Snow cover pretty impressive across the North American continent right now, as well as on the other side of the globe. As we go forward, we're going to see a weather pattern developing this weekend that's generally going to be in a west to northwest flow into the Intermountain West. Now, this is today's weather map. This little guy right here, heading into British Columbia and Alberta, is what's going to come through the area tomorrow night and Sunday. And that's going to cause wind ahead of it. These are the forecasted wind gusts over the next 3 days. So you can see it gets windy along the northern front range of Colorado, the I-80 corridor, and the I-25 corridor of Wyoming. So you're going to get some strong winds at times. This will cause areas of blowing snow along I-25 and Interstate 80. Some gusty winds along I-70 and the higher elevations of Colorado as well. Then look at Montana along and east of the divide. Going to get pretty windy ahead of that Alberta Clipper. Now those winds will drop off considerably once the Clipper goes on by. But if you're traveling or planning to be outdoors over the next 3 days, be ready for some gusty winds. This is by Saturday night into Sunday morning. The Clipper system moves through quickly. Northerly winds aloft mean that Sunday will be colder. So temperatures moderate today and Saturday. Temperatures go down on Sunday. Here's the next Clipper. There's actually two little systems just like that upstream. So as we get into Sunday, this is what the snowfall forecast looks like. So for overnight Saturday into Sunday morning, we're going to see a bit of snow up in the Bighorns, in the Yellowstone Plateau, Beartooth areas in the mountains of Idaho, and back up into Montana here. Some of the southern mountains of Wyoming and northern Colorado will get dusted by a little bit of snow, but as you can see, very little moisture reaches out on the plains, except maybe a little bit along Interstate 90. Saturday afternoon, Saturday night into Sunday morning, west of the divide, nothing for a bit longer. By Monday night into Tuesday, here's the next Alberta Clipper. It's going to swing through late Tuesday into Wednesday. Probably very similar results. Windy on the plains, a little bit of snow shower activity in the high country, and that's about all. But look what happens. This is by Monday. By Saturday, we see a big buildup of high pressure along the west coast, building northward up towards Alaska again. So winds aloft start to come in from the northwest. So by next weekend, that northwest flow will bring in a stronger push of Canadian air into the central United States again, while high pressure still remains off the west coast. Very similar to what we just went through. And with this wave up here, forecasted to go up and over the ridge and down again, what that will do is that will bring in a more intense area of low pressure into the northern Rockies right around Valentine's Day Monday or Tuesday the 15th, dragging in Arctic air right here and likely bringing a return of winter conditions. See this penetration of very cold air into the Great Lakes in New England again? So after kind of the weather catching its breath over the next 5 to 7 days, it gets really busy again. This is all the way out to near Sunday, February 20th. A low tries to get into the Great Basin. Another low up here to reinforce the troughiness. So what's going to happen for the second half of February is a westward shift again of the winter weather into the western United States. And what I think will happen is that in the second half of February into the first half of March, the persistent pattern that has been more prominent of more winter weather here will be shifting more westward and lasting a little bit longer than our most recent episode of winter weather again. Now I'm showing you the newest update from the JMA, or the Japanese Meteorological Agency forecast. And you see this area of blue right here? This shows an area of low pressure and cold air. Now here, if you want to get reference, here's Mexico, so here's Florida, so you have a point of reference. You see where the blue is dipping down into the western United States and the brighter colors here. So this basically represents an area of high pressure in the east central Pacific and an area of low pressure persistently in the western United States. And this is for the time period of the last week of February into the first week of March. So the Japanese model is hinting at that westward shift as well. And so is the European. We got our new long-range outlook from the European agency, and this is basically using the same colors representing the overall averages of the pressures in the upper atmosphere. And what it's showing as we get to the end of February into early March, basically just look at it this way, is how the jet stream will behave. So the latter half of February, early March, and this all the way goes out to March 21st. So for those of you in California, those of you wondering why the snowpack has started to lose some ground, because we just really have seen the snowpack shut off with no really big snows in the mountains here lately, we got to wait another week. After that, we will start to see the snowpack build again. By late February and early March, California, the Great Basin states will start to get wet again, and we'll see the pattern in the west getting a lot more active. And also, on the whole, second half of February and early March will be colder than average as well for most of the western United States. So a bit of a pause in the action, but after that it could get real busy again. Have a great weekend, everybody. Stay warm, and we'll see you on Monday.